that is the White House. These are the people observing and taking photos of the White House. That is the National Christmas tree. That's the Washington Monument. And that there in the distance is the Jefferson Memorial. Yeah, it's a bit of a pinch me moment standing outside the White House. The actual White House, which we've seen many photos of and seen in many movies and whatnot. That's a white van. Anyway, let's get to the Jefferson Memorial.
Thank you.
This is the ellipse. It's a multi-purpose field here on the south side of the White House. It's used for all sorts of gatherings and so on. So from here, I'm going to go to the Washington Monument, which is the tallest structure in all of DC. So there in the background, we have the Lincoln Memorial. And behind the trees there, we have the Jefferson Memorial. Over yonder, we have the White House. This is the Washington Monument going up to the sky. And just beyond it there, between the flagpoles, is Capitol Hill. These are some of the cherry trees that were gifted to the United States by Japan. Now, I'm not sure whether these are the original, but 3,000 trees were given, and there are about 100 still alive today of those trees that were sent across in 1912. So now we are on our way to the Jefferson Memorial on the other side of this tidal basin. I'm not sure what kind of birds these are, but they might be Canada geese. I want to see as many memorials or monuments as I can while I'm here. Thomas Jefferson was one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. He was also the principal author of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, and he was the third president of the country from 1801 to 1809. His likeness is also on Mount Rushmore to depict his expansion of the United States. It was during his tenure as president in 1803 that the Louisiana Purchase was completed, which doubled the United States in size. Washington was especially established in 1790 to be the capital of the nation, and it was designed by French-American architect Pierre-Charles L'Enfant. It's getting dark fast now, and it's going to take me about 30 to 40 minutes to get back to the hotel if I go straight that way. But I still want to walk here around the tidal basin and then see FDR's memorial, and then go past Martin Luther King Jr.'s memorial, and then perhaps just stop over at the White House to get some photos with the lights on, or video with the lights on, maybe. Franklin D. Roosevelt was the only US president to win 4 presidential elections. I think it's too dark now to truly appreciate this monument. Eleanor Roosevelt was the first lady to be active with a very high public profile on a number of political issues such as civil rights, women's rights, and so on. And she was also the first US delegate to the United Nations. Franklin Roosevelt was president for over 12 years. He led the United States through the Great Depression and almost to the end of the Second World War when he died in office. This is the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. King was a Baptist minister and a civil rights movement leader, and he delivered the I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. The Washington Monument all lit up. Well, there is the White House all lit up, along with the National Christmas tree and the state Christmas trees spread about. So this is the National Mall. So this National Mall is an open strip of lawn and pools all the way from the Lincoln Memorial up here, right down to the Capitol there, sticking out in the background, and Washington Monument also. So behind me here is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. So this is the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. The decision to have Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech of 1963 delivered here at the top of these stairs was influenced by Lincoln's 1863 signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, amongst other things. The transcription of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address from November 1863. This is the statue of Lincoln gazing out over the National Mall. Here's a transcription of Lincoln's second inaugural speech in March of 1865. So I'm standing here on Arlington Memorial Bridge. I'm kind of over the river. I don't know how you say the name of this river. Potomac, or Potomac, I'm not sure, but in any case. That's Georgetown over there. That's part of Arlington there, the city of Arlington. And so, in essence, that is in the state of Virginia. And when I cross over the bridge, I will be in the state of Virginia. Now this Arlington Memorial Bridge is also the bridge over which the funeral procession of John F. Kennedy went in 1963. I'm on my way to Arlington, across the Arlington Memorial Bridge, and I'm hoping that I can see the grave of JFK. So, and maybe some of the others. So yeah, let's go. So now that I'm across the river, I have entered the state of Virginia, and more specifically Arlington, Virginia. Maybe I haven't done that quite yet. There's another river here. So let's walk some more, and then we'll call it when we get to the end of the bridge. These are some of the over 400,000 graves here at Arlington National Cemetery. This is the memorial for those who died when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded after takeoff on 28th of January 1986. I was 11 years old at the time, and this captured my imagination like nothing that I can remember at that age. This was actually a momentous event that captivated my mind for a very long time. Reading about it, reading about the people, looking at documentaries. So something quite impactful in my young life, continuing into adulthood. Even recently, looking at a documentary with regard to Challenger. Columbia didn't quite capture my attention the same way the Challenger did. And this is in memory of the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia. It was in 2003. Wow, time flies. Well, I remember this event quite well. This is in commemoration of the USS Thresher, which was the first nuclear submarine to be lost at sea. And it sank with all hands on board while they were conducting deep sea testing. This is Arlington House, and it is also the memorial to General Robert E. Lee. I just don't have time to get there now. The sun is going to set in 15 minutes, and I still want to see JFK's grave, which is close by here. But as soon as the Lees left, joined the Confederacy, they left their state. You see, Washington is very close by, and so as soon as they left their state, the Union buried soldiers in Mrs. Lee's rose garden to prevent them from actually coming back to the estate after the war. However, their son sued the government and won, and was compensated with $150,000, which was the purchase price then of the land. Standing outside Arlington Cemetery Station, waiting for an Uber. That's the entrance to Arlington Cemetery there, with Arlington House silhouetted in the dying light of day.
Right there.
Oh, right here. Wow.
Yeah, somewhere over here. 2001.
Yeah, 9/11.
9/11.
On September 11, 2001, terrorists hijacked American Airlines Flight 77 and crashed the plane into the Pentagon with 59 victims on board. A further 125 people inside the Pentagon were killed. This is the building where President Abraham Lincoln was shot in 1865. And he was carried across the road to the Peterson House, where he died at 7:22 the next morning. So the person that shot him was named John Wilkes Booth, and he said that he shot him because he was trying to save his country. I've arrived at Capitol Hill, and this is the Capitol building. It is the seat of the United States Congress. So the Capitol building is at the one end of the National Mall, with Washington Monument in the middle, and then the Lincoln Memorial right at the other end, before one crosses the Memorial Bridge into Arlington in Virginia. The Capitol Christmas tree is a new tree every year, and this particular one came from Alaska. It is in fact one of the biggest trees that has stood here at Christmas time. The tree is 39 years old and it is 80 feet tall. This is for anyone who doesn't think that it is particularly cold. These are chunks of ice lying on the ice of this pool in front of the United States Capitol. That's the White House at night, all lit up. This is Pennsylvania Avenue, and they're building a new entrance. This is at the National Air and Space Museum. This is the actual command module that Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins used to go around the moon. They actually landed on the moon in the lunar module. Neil Armstrong wore this exact spacesuit on the moon. Planes, planes and more planes. I never imagined that I'll be this close to the actual Wright Flyer. And that is the engine note there in the background. Oh, here we are at the Lincoln Memorial again. It's 4:10 in the morning, Christmas Day, and we are on our way to Reagan National Airport. And we're going across the Memorial Bridge again. So we are catching a flight at 6 o'clock to
Orlando, Florida. I know Disney's there, so catch it outside. But before you go, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you so much. Bye.